Hey guys, today we're going to be reviewing the video game The Last of Us Part 2. So, before we do head into our thoughts on The Last of Us Part 2, be warned, there's definitely going to be some traumatic spoilers.
I don't think there's hardly a way to get around it.
Yeah, this is
You'd have to talk about it for 3 minutes.
Yeah. If anybody has done like a non-spoiler review of this game, I honestly don't know how they're doing it, because this is the type of game it's like you kind of need to talk about the spoilers.
I've watched them and they're like, sorry, they're
horrible.
kind of boring because
they can't talk about anything.
It's just you read. It just sounds like they're reading an article.
Yeah. So yeah, we're definitely going to be heading into some very traumatic spoilers. So if you have not played the Last of Us franchise, or if you're not finished with your gameplay of The Last of Us Part 2, yeah, definitely stay clear, come back at a later point, and have a conversation with us. And, yeah, I guess a disclaimer. We are very positive about this game. Is that safe to say?
Yeah.
We are definitely on the very positive side of this game. So if you're here looking for a negative review, please go away, because we're not here to be negative. We actually had a very pleasant, okay, maybe not pleasant. Pleasant's not the right word, because this was a very traumatizing game. But yeah, we are definitely on the very positive side with this game. We had a great time, if you want to call it a great time.
We had a great time killing
people. So, because yeah, there's definitely been a lot of controversy. Some of the controversy I can understand. I mean, it's your opinion. You have a right to your opinion if you didn't like certain aspects of this game, because I know a lot of people had problems with just the structure of the game, and that's a legitimate complaint. But yeah, if you're here and you're just like, I hate women, go away. So yeah, Stephanie, let's talk, before we actually talk about the game. You're the one, because I always mention, I like to watch gameplay. So I watched Stephanie play the game. So yeah, Stephanie, speak about just the gameplay. How was the gameplay experience? Before we, let's talk about the technicalities before we head into the story and characters and whatnot. How did it run to you, I guess?
You know, I feel like I had a speech ready and now I don't know what it was. I mean, it still felt like the original game. In terms of playing, it was like extra smooth. You know, the first game already looked great, but this one was even better.
It's like people already looked like people in the first game, and it's like this one, people were really just, they looked so realistic. People really looked realistic in this.
I think one of the only things that I didn't like was playing the guitar. That one aggravated me because you had to like switch the knob over and strum, and I was like, why can't we just like press X square, you know, like Kingdom Hearts? But I don't know, I liked the way everything felt.
Nothing ever felt glitchy.
No, I liked that now that, because you know before it was very sensitive that like if somebody kind of saw you out of the corner of their eye, they'd attack you. But now this one improved, they enhanced on it, and now you can still walk right up in front of them and grab them. There were some times where like somebody would see you, but because you were right there, they were kind of like, oh, and then you're like, and then you can kill them. So I loved that it kind of changed it up, because yeah, you could kind of sneak up on them more, and I liked.
Yeah, I remember the first game being very sensitive with the enemies, that they could spot you just really quickly and be kind of irritating. So
and now
I mean, they still can kind of do it at this one too, but
now you can
like a little better.
Crawl and stuff, and that was cool. And it also added more of a scare factor to it, being in the grass, because you didn't know, you're like, will they see me, can they see me? So I think that kind of helped add to the fear factor of things, that you didn't know if they could see you. You
could hide under a truck.
Yeah.
You could hide under
what never
grass.
happened to me, what I saw in like a demo video from the company, was that you could get pulled from underneath like a vehicle or something, and that never happened. I never stayed under a vehicle long enough
to get grabbed by somebody.
Yeah, but no, I liked all the new like
abilities,
skills, yeah, that you could enhance on. Because now they had like a whole lot more, it felt like. If I'm correct. It felt like a whole lot more. And it really made you think, like, in terms of your gameplay, how what you wanted to upgrade and stuff like that. So it's kind of up to you. Weapons you like and how you play, how you want to upgrade.
The game was still very gorgeous for a post-apocalyptic world. You know, the first game, you could go into a new chunk of the game, and it would be very large. But I feel like this game, it was even larger.
Massive.
Yeah, this second, if you thought the first game had like large environments and, you know, large just areas, this second game really goes above and beyond. The areas are like, they feel even bigger. There's like more to do.
You know, in the first game they would have up like those barbed wire barriers and stuff, so you obviously couldn't get over it, but then you could still see beyond it. But this was like, this went beyond, you know, you could see like way more. You could run around way more than
you
before.
you really felt like you were in the environment running around.
Because I loved being in the city. Yeah, it was a little like, whew, how much more looting do I have to do?
Yeah, some areas were just so big. I mean,
because we spent probably 2 days both in like downtown Seattle and then like the little well, like the big city of Seattle, like the big buildings, and then we spent another 2 days in like the little town, like downtown, with like the little houses and little local places and stuff.
Yeah, downtown Seattle literally took us 2 days. About 4 hours.
But like, I felt like, you know, somebody created this game. Somebody created all these stupid places you could hop into.
Little details. There's so much detail, and it's like I want to look at everything and consume
why would
it.
you just sit there and just race past it to what your main goal is when somebody worked on this, and also picked up more gear, picked up fun little cards and coins. And you got a lot of extra letters that helped expand.
Yeah, let's talk about the letters really quickly. You know, in some video games, you know, like Resident Evil does this. Even something like Detroit Become Human. You know, you can pick up letters, you can read stuff, and that kind of helps give you a little bit more world building. But sometimes that stuff isn't necessary. You know, especially like Resident Evil. Half the time, I feel like a lot of times,
just like the workers and like, oh, this is what I did today.
Yeah, and in a lot of video games, you don't really have to read the letters. You can kind of skim them, or you don't have to pick them up at all. But I think definitely with this game, you definitely need to read the letters and memos or whatever that kind of pops up, because there is a lot of additional world building and talking about characters that you haven't even met yet, but they're going to be like important later, like the character of Isaac, for instance. Isaac is only in a very small portion of the game, which was kind of mind-blowing, considering, because we were expecting a lot, because every letter that Ellie kept picking up,
Isaac. It was either from Isaac, or it was addressed to him, or somebody was two people, the letter between two people mentioned him. Yeah,
and you learn a lot about Isaac through those letters. You know, before you even meet the man, you learn a lot about him and about how he is and how people view him.
And the same with the leader, or whatever she was, the goddess,
the religious
to the Seraphites.
Yeah, the religious cult lady.
She was dead.
Yeah, she was dead.
Well, I feel like I'm going through it again, but I'm only like 2 hours into it again.
Well, your
36.
Your replay.
So,
that's it, you guys. It took us 36 hours to play this game.
2 minutes short of a 36-hour gameplay. And 3 weeks exactly.
Yeah, it took, Whew, we were exhausted too, but it was worth it.
Anyway, we only play like 2 hours a day.
Yeah, because that's kind of all we had time to do. But yeah, the religious cult lady, what about it? What were you saying?
Oh yeah, same with her. You run into a lot of letters about her, then you kind of find out
she's dead.
I don't know if you kind of find out early that she's dead, or you find out like a little bit later that she was.
It's quite a ways in the game, because I was like, wait, she's dead?
But yeah, her and Isaac, both of those people. I mean, you only meet Isaac for a few minutes, but you don't meet the Seraphite lady. She's dead, but you learn about her, and you learn about her community.
Yeah. To understand why all the Seraphites are the way that they are, And yeah, why the wolves are the way that they are. It's like
and then Fedra comes back in. You don't meet any Fedra people, I don't think. I don't think you ever met any. You always just found their dead bodies. But it's like, they are now non-existent. The Seraphites and the wolves hate them. Or, you know, didn't like them, you know, because they were controlling and stuff.
So yeah, the letters, if you're the type of person you think, oh, I don't need to read the letters, I think you're really missing out, especially if you really want that world, that extra world building. If you don't care, then that's you, but if you really do care about the additional world building and just really discovering more about the individual groups, learn more about Isaac, learn more about the religious cult lady.
And then you find out about other people, you see people's names. And then you come across them later, either in living form or dead form.
Yeah, I think one of my favorites was when you get your
I forget his name.
your bow and arrow or whatever. I can't remember his name, but there's a series of letters talking about this guy that he's like the best archer,
And then you ended up in his house.
yeah, there's even a point you end up in his house and you see that he won like first place in an archery competition, and then yeah, when you near the end of that level, I think there is a guy that you have to kill, and you have to kill him so you can get the bow and arrow as your weapon. And yeah, it's that same guy. And it's like, yeah, once again, you need to read the letters. You need to explore.
If you pass that letter, you're just like, it's some random mini boss battle.
Yeah, you need to read the letters. You need to, make sure you hit that guy's house. Know that he was a great archer, you know. It's just little stupid details like that really enhance the environment and really enhance the story and like really make you feel like you're just kind of connected to what's going on, you know? So I like that. That was one of my favorites with the archer.
I did just want to touch up on like the environment of stuff. Like I know we already said it was a pretty game, but like the environment, I had seen a video that was comparing just like textures of people's skin, but also like the way the environments looked. And it was like, wow, I mean, we already, the first one already looked great, but then seeing the difference between the two was such like a massive improvement.
Which is wild.
Well, because especially like everything seemed more like the colors were true. Because Last of Us, the first one had like a certain tone of color to it, and now this one did too, but it was just even more realistic. Especially like when you came to like trees and grass and stuff like that, it just felt like you were really just. Sometimes it wasn't even a cutscene, like a cutscene. And it just felt like it was real.
The stuff in the snow looked amazing. It really.
I loved the blizzard.
Yeah,
that
that really looked like you were out in a snowstorm. Just the way the snow would hit the clothing, the footsteps through the snow.
The rain.
Yeah, rain. Yeah, rain was great.
Ooh, and the wind. As your Abby.
On the
being going up higher, the wind was getting
the skyriser.
Yeah, the wind was getting worse as Abby kept venturing up higher on the skyscraper and stuff. So that was cool because you could kind of feel it, and plus they made that now. Usually you play a game and you go to a cliff and they stop you, which they did, but if you kept pushing it, then you fell. And then I liked how you had to make sure you teetered correctly. Or just stop, and then she wouldn't fall.
So is that it for like kind of the technical details of the game? I guess. Beautiful game, great environments. You played smoothly, which is important. So yeah, let's get into what everyone probably wants to hear. Let's talk about story and characters, I suppose. Let's try to be as general as possible here, because we could spend hours talking about some of the stuff that went down, you guys. I guess let's. I don't know where to start. How do you want to start, Stephanie? I'm not sure where to even begin. I guess let's be very general, just the wide arcing thing of this game. The whole game is about revenge, essentially. Ellie's revenge, Abby's revenge. Everybody has some sort of revenge going on. Everybody hates everybody. There's like just constant, just a cycle of feuding.
Except I feel like Dina did not have revenge. Was she upset? Yes, but she was only following Ellie because she wanted to be by Ellie's side because Ellie shouldn't go alone.
Dina was kind of there as like the, I feel like the moral center for Ellie.
Just
perhaps.
like Lev was
The moral center for Abby. I mean, that's the thing with this game. Like I said, let's be very
Everybody
general.
has.
Yeah.
There's Ellie, Abby. Then there's Dina
and Lev.
I guess in the end. At first you would think Owen. But if you think about it, then
It's
it would
Lev.
be Dina and Lev.
Yeah. So let's be kind of general here.
And then Tommy and Owen.
Yeah.
Maybe there. Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe kind
Yeah.
of the same.
So it's going to be general here, or else we're going to spend forever just talking about things. The game is about revenge. And, okay, so let's start from the beginning. Joel gets killed pretty early in the game, you guys. It's pretty devastating. It's pretty traumatic because you spent game 1. Joel was the character you were playing as. And so, of course, it's very traumatic. Of course, you're pissed off with Abby the whole game. You know,
You want your revenge.
Yeah, you want Ellie to go kill Abby. You're glad to go on that mission and go kill Abby. So the game pulls one on you. The game pulls one on you, and you play as Ellie for a pretty good portion of the game, and Dina is your companion. And then the game just kind of abruptly ends with Ellie, and all of a sudden you gotta play as Abby. Abby, who has just killed Joel. And then literally right before you start Abby's game, she has just killed Jesse. So it switches, and you're sitting thinking to yourself, why the hell do I want to play as Abby? Why do I even want to watch her story?
And there's also a gunshot. So you don't know what happened
Happened
with
to
that
Tommy.
gunshot.
Yeah, you don't know what happened to
There's Tommy
Tommy.
on the ground, he's been kicked, and the gun's pointing at
I'm a Tommy.
Ellie.
I'm a Tommy fangirl, you guys. I love Tommy. I love Uncle Tommy. I don't know why.
So
but I
yeah,
love
you're
him.
devastated that Jesse just got shot in a blink of an eye.
Yeah.
And now you got your
So-
uncle down on the floor.
This whole game is just a whirlwind of feelings and emotions, you guys, and lots of complicated feelings. And I think that's kind of the whole thing of this game. You're supposed to have complicated feelings. You know, you're supposed to have complicated feelings for everybody, because then, of course, you see Ellie as your hero, and you see Abby as your villain. But then those roles are kind of reversed once you start playing as Abby, and then it's kind of like, wait,
Why do I feel like Ellie's the villain?
Ellie is
the bad
kind of
guy?
Ellie's kind of a bit of a villain in Abby's eyes, you know, and the game does a great job of incorporating all these various different flashbacks, and Abby and Ellie's stories are essentially parallels of one another, because each of them has their motives for why they're doing what they're doing. They're not just blindly, you know, going and doing what they're doing. They have motives for what they're doing. Because, yeah, of what happened to Joel. And yeah, you find out that Joel, when he was, you know, taking Ellie to the Fireflies, and then he killed everybody at the hospital, Abby's dad was going to be the doctor that was going to operate on Ellie. So, that's a big dramatic shift. Or,
Because
story.
what's bad too is, well, they show that flashback at the beginning of the game. And the thing is, like, I mean, I don't know about other players, but I'm sure there's others who felt the same. And when we were in the hospital, I didn't want to kill the doctors. You know, the game forces you to kill the doctors. I didn't want to kill them. They're doctors. We need doctors, no matter, you know, who cares if it's the apocalypse. We really need doctors. And so it's like, I didn't want to kill the doctor, but they made you.
But Stephanie, it's Joel. Joel is the one making the decisions. You are making
He could have
for him.
just, Joe could have took that man out with one hit. He could have got his operating little board that they have, the steel thing, to pick that up and smacked him in the head, and he would have went down easily. We could have got Ellie. We could have got out of there.
So, yeah, the whole game, just about every character, I mean, it's a story about revenge and consequences, I guess. Even if you were initially doing something for the greater good, like, you know, because Joel didn't want Ellie to die. He was starting to see her as a daughter figure. He didn't want her to die, so to him what he did was justified. But at the same time, it does have consequences because Abby and her group come after him.
At the same time, I see people who are like, you know, if you think Joel is a hero, he's not. You know, what he did was wrong, for taking Ellie when Ellie could have saved all of humanity. But you know what I think is that, don't tell me if that was your kid who, yeah, they were going to save humanity, but they were going to die, and they were only like 13. Don't tell me you'd just be like, yeah, operate on my kid, kill my kid, and let's save humanity. Don't tell me you'd agree with that, because you wouldn't. I don't care if you said you would not. So that doesn't make Joel a bad guy.
The character... Okay, we were talking about this. Let's talk about the cards. This was a big thing that we were talking about, was the cards, because Ellie in the game has to collect a bunch of superhero trading cards. And I think on the surface, these trading cards, it just seems like a fun little thing for you to collect. But I kind of started thinking about it, and I was like, I think there's sort of a deeper meaning to the cards, sort of when you kind of think about it on a larger scale. Because what these cards were doing, when you would read the cards, at the end of each card, it would say this person is a hero, this person is a villain.
They're a neutral hero.
Yeah, or they're
a
neutral
villain.
Yeah, it would be very specific if they were a hero or a villain. And that is not what The Last of Us is. The Last of Us, especially Part 2, it's not about heroes, and it's not about villains. Because I think initially, you're kind of thinking that way. You're seeing Joel and Ellie as the heroes. You're seeing Abby as the villain. But I think the game just gets very clever that, yeah, when you are forced to go be Abby, and you have to get through her backstory, and you play as her, and to understand her and whatnot. And yeah, you're seeing Ellie suddenly kind of like, oh, maybe Ellie and Joel are kind of a little bad and everything. But the thing is, in this type of world, and in real life, nobody is a pure hero. Nobody is a pure villain. Those type of roles realistically do not exist. That is superhero. That's what superhero movies are for. You know, superhero movies, you have your hero, you have your villain. That's where they are. You don't really have like morally gray people. You know? And so yeah, The Last of Us Part 2 is really exploring like morally gray people that are very complex and complicated. And that no one is a hero, no one is a villain. And so I really kind of like that. I thought the game was very clever with that. So I think the cards, I know they're just cards, but I kind of was like, I think there's a little bit more of a deeper message going here. You know, if you want to really like read into it.
Coins were just coins.
Yeah, the coins were just coins, I think.
No, Arkansas meant something.
The North Carolina coin meant something.
When we switched over as Abby, as soon as we went up to Precious Bear,
The
who
dog
was
bear.
playing in his pen, in the big pen, that is when it hit me that we have made a grave mistake as Ellie.
Killing the dogs. We shouldn't have killed the dogs,
No.
you guys.
Now see, like, it's like when I think about it, I feel bad as Ellie for killing those people. Like, the one girl, you know, it turns out, the one girl who had the headphones on and was playing like a
Video game.
little handheld game. You know, you kind of hold her hostage for a moment and then, and
then you kill her.
But then you go to Abby, and she's just like a
Normal.
nerdy girl.
She's just normal.
All she wants to do is just sit around half the time and play her games, and then she gets told to go out on a mission and look out, and she's just like, boo, 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 you know. So I felt bad for her. Nora was a difficult one, the doctor, because as Ellie, she said she was glad Joel died. She called him something. I don't know if she's like, you know, he's a pig, or, you know, she called him something, like, in terms of, like, that. Like, she said something about him, I think, and that he deserved to die. So that ticked me off. I was ready to kill her in a heartbeat. So then, at the same time, in Abby's, it was like, I was still mad, because the way she was talking about Joel, like, he deserved to die. But, yeah, she was their doctor. And then, she sucked in all them spores. And it's like, oh no.
But to Nora, though, he killed people that they liked.
Yeah.
You know? So, once again, nobody's a hero and nobody's a villain. Everybody's going to come at something from a different point of view.
And then with Mel and Owen, that one was difficult as Ellie, because it was like, you could tell Owen was somebody who wasn't agreeing with things.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Just from the little bit that you met him through Ellie's eyes.
Mm-hmm.
You could tell that he was somebody who didn't really like exactly what was going on. And then Mel, you kind of felt that way too. Both of them were kind of in the same boat. And so that one was a little bit like, can we like spare them? Can we just kind of like knock them out? But then Owen kind of had to mess it up and fight for Mel's life.
He was just protecting Mel.
Yeah.
You know?
So then, yeah, he
And
gets
their
shot.
kid.
Yeah, he gets shot. And like some people, I've seen some people who like apparently forgot Mel was pregnant.
How
Like,
do you forget that?
when you know from the bit of Abby's story that you played at the beginning. So it was kind of like, okay. But yeah, so it was like, oh, let's not, you know, we shouldn't kill her. She's pregnant, you know? And then that was kind of like a massive feeling of guilt, because then Owen was still alive. And, you know, he tried to tell Ellie she was pregnant, and then there's no turning back now because she stabbed her in the neck.
Don't get us started on Alice, you guys. The dog Alice. Oh my
Oh,
god.
dear. Well, it was
Oh.
already hard. I hate killing animals in video games.
It's one thing in Resident Evil when the dogs are dead.
But then they're cute too. But
The-
yeah, you
but
know
they're
it's
dead.
okay.
The dogs are dead in Resident Evil, and it's okay. They're
Yeah.
attacking you. They're vicious and whatnot. But yeah,
This-
these are like
They're
dogs.
pets.
Yeah, these were pets. Yeah, because when you're playing Abby's game, you find out. I mean, these are kind of like pets to some degree, and they're being trained. They love their owners.
Mm-hmm.
They're very sweet. And I mean, they in Ellie's eyes, of course, they're cruel because they're attacking her.
Yeah.
And she has to kill them. But
Oh
yeah.
god, it was heartbreaking.
Oh.
I killed like
Oh.
the dog's human, the person that was leading the dog. The
Oh.
dog didn't see me, and there was nobody else around, so nobody saw that Ellie shot this person. And the dog, and then I snuck into a building, and I was kind of looking out the window, and this dog was walking around his owner's corpse and like
Make a little whimpering sounds,
And
like,
then-
oh, my master.
and then he would
up.
kind of pace around, and I think he kind of like would let out a little bark, like, "Hey, I don't know what's happened. My master's dead. Can somebody come check this out?" And I was like, "What did we do?"
This game made you just feel all sorts of guilty.
So then, yeah, especially when we started Abby's game, and you get to Bear and you play with him,
yeah.
and then you find out he's the sole dog that you killed at the hospital.
Yeah.
Because there was only one dog at the hospital. That was a massive feeling of
Yeah.
guilt. And then you get to play with Alice a little bit. She comes along with you. And then you sit there, and then you see her squeaky toy at one point
Get to play
in the
with
game, and then it comes back to like the present, and you get to play with her. And then you like, Alice is about to die in like a few hours, and it's like,
Yeah, Alice was rough, you guys. Knowing that Ellie kills Alice, that was pretty rough. Oh.
and
Now-
then yeah, like and Abby leaving the aquarium, you knew Alice was gonna be dead, Owen and Mel, they were all gonna be dead by the time you came back.
And then something else we were talking about, because we had seen a lot of stuff that people felt manipulated by this game. That it didn't feel right, that the game was manipulating you by forcing you to play
It was
Abby and forcing
teaching you.
and forcing you to kind of have guilt and whatnot. I have news for everybody. Most things that you consume, whether that's a book or a movie, TV show, video game, whatever, most things are there to manipulate you. But yeah, just about everything you consume is a sort of manipulation, because when an author's writing a book, they want you to feel a certain way. They want you to think a certain way. Same thing with movies and television. They want you to feel a certain way. They want you to think a certain way. So yeah, the thing of people complaining that The Last of Us Part 2 is manipulating you into feeling guilty and for liking Abby, I don't really feel like that's a valid opinion, because all media is a manipulation of some sort. And yeah, everything going on in this game as well, everything is like a parallel of something, you know?
Got pregnant Dina and pregnant Mel.
Yeah,
And
'cause-
it comes back.
Yeah, Because at first I was like, okay, Dina's pregnant and Mel's pregnant. That's just, why is there so many pregnant people in this game? But yeah, I mean, that's done deliberately because then later, you know, Ellie has killed Mel.
Ellie had no mercy.
Yeah, Ellie has killed Mel, and then when Abby is about to kill Dina, Ellie's like, oh, she's pregnant. And the thing is, well, it's like, well, guess what? So was Mel. There's, you know, why would Abby have sympathy for you when you just killed Mel? You know? So, yeah.
That was one of my favorite parts. Because, yeah, she was getting ready. She already busted Dina up. So I should think she was unconscious. And she's about to kill her. And then Lev Ellie's like, no, she's pregnant. And then Abby just says, good. You know?
Yeah.
Like, good.
Good. That justifies,
this makes it even better.
But what you did to Mel.
Then you have Lev, your moral compass. And she's like, Abby, no. Because Lev knows, and Dina does too, that the cycle has to end.
Yeah.
This can't keep going on. And Lev, Lev is thankfully there to be like, no, Abby.
Yeah. But everything in this game, just about everything, when you sit down and think about it, just about everything is some sort of parallel. Because, yeah, you have Ellie and Abby's story, you have the people that are branching off from them, you know.
And then there's some people who say that's not Ellie's character. That's something I see a lot. That
she version out of character?
This version of Ellie, yeah, it's out of character for her. But the thing is, she got mad with Joel years before because she found out that he saved her. That she was did she find out? Yeah, he told her that they were going to kill her, right?
Yeah.
So she was mad because she was like,
yeah, it wasn't your choice to make. You took my choice from me.
Her choice was taken from her, and she could have. And then later on, she's yelling at him that she could have meant something to the world or whatever. And so then the day before Joel gets killed, they had a fight, but they kind of made up. And said that they wanted to start over, And I think Ellie's characterness is, like, because of her rage, she feels guilt because
she's doing a lot of irrational things because of, her
because
rage.
They didn't make up, they wasted their last few years together by
being estranged.
Essentially. Because they didn't really talk to each other, and Ellie would just kind of answer in like short sentences or one word. And so I think her whole out of characterness was fueled by her anger at herself for not mending their relationship sooner.
Because really the whole game, it's like she's trying to say she's angry at Abby, but really she's just angry with herself. Which is the same with Abby. Abby's angry with Joel. It's like everybody's claiming, hey, Joel is the reason why I'm angry, but really, they're all just angry with themselves.
But, I mean, Abby didn't go around killing all of Ellie's friends. She did it because it was provoked. And if you think about it, I mean, yeah, she killed Joel, but then, who was it, just Jesse? She shot Jesse because that was after Ellie had killed everybody she knew.
Mm-hmm.
So in a way, you can see that Abby's is because Ellie went too far. Like Abby said, I let you two live, in terms of Ellie and Tommy, because they had nothing to do with her vendetta with Joel.
That's this whole game. This whole game is just a cycle of violence. Joel kills Abby's dad. Abby kills Joel. And then, so Ellie's like, I'm going after Abby. And then, who is it after that? Like, whatever. It's just an endless cycle of violence. Like, you kill somebody, I'm going to go kill somebody else.
The ending of the game, if Ellie would, or not Ellie, getting all the ladies confused. If Abby would have killed Dina, then obviously Ellie would not have stopped their fight in the water.
At the very end. And at the edge of the ocean or whatever.
Ellie would not have, she would have fought till the death. But hers or Abby's, she would have fought if Dina had died. And maybe, I don't know about Uncle Tommy, I don't know, like, how close she was to him, you know, but, like, with Dina, yeah, she would have fought till the end. But, yeah, then I guess it finally got through her stupid head that, you know, she should have quit. She shouldn't have even went after Abby after the baby was born and everything. Mm-hmm. One of my favorite scenes, or sections, was the museum.
Oh, the flashback at the museum?
Yes.
Oh god, I loved that.
That was my favorite one. And then, like, you didn't want it to end because you were back with Joel.
Yeah.
And you just wanted to take your time. And
Being
I think
Joel,
they made you take your time anyway,
yeah,
if you wanted to.
Yeah.
Because it was funny, like, if you went into the one room and Ellie took a phone call, and they're, like, talking about dinosaurs, and she's like, oh, here's one now, you know, and she's talking about Joel, you know, like, there was that, because I don't think you would have got that if you didn't walk into that room.
Yeah.
I think you would have got
It's like everything at the museum in that flashback. I mean,
there was so much interaction.
Yeah, you could easily just go right on through it and bypass everything. But if you do that, you're missing out on all the interactive stuff because, yeah, you can. There's that hat you find. You could put the hat on all the dinosaurs.
And then it's just funny listening to Joel.
Yeah, and
he's
then,
like, Are we going to do this the whole way
Yeah,
through?
and then Joel, because you sit and do certain things, Joel starts essentially talking about the Jurassic Park franchise. Mm-hmm. He never calls it the Jurassic Park franchise, but you know that's what he's talking about. So yeah, you'll be missing out on all the Jurassic Park Easter eggs, which were hilarious.
And Ellie was like, what is this movie? I gotta watch it. And he said, maybe when we get back or something, we can watch it.
So, yeah, it's just little things like that. You really just got to interact with the world, or else you're missing out on just a lot of fun character stuff.
Yeah, if you pick up that hat, you can put it on all the dinosaurs, and it's hilarious, because Ellie's funny. And then Joel was over there like, oh boy. But it's Ellie's birthday.
Yeah, and then you can put the hat on Joel.
Yeah, and then, you can go and put it on Joel. Mm-hmm. And when they did that, I was kind of like, and then you go upstairs, and I forgot that Ellie had all those, science, like astrology books and stuff like that, or astronomy, or would it be astronomy books, and that was the top portion, and I guess that's, she learns more about that, and then they get into the little shuttle together, and he has a little recording.
Yeah. There's been a lot of complaints too about just the structure of the game, that I guess people didn't like playing as Ellie and then playing as Abby, like it chunked like that, like very divided. I personally really liked how it was structured, because if the game had been like
back and forth,
if it had been like Ellie in one of her flashbacks and then Abby in one of her flashbacks, if it had kept like going back and forth like that, I just feel like it would have felt all over the place. Mm-hmm. So I liked that you were very heavily focused on Ellie and Ellie's flashbacks.
Because then as you're playing as Abby and you get to certain things and you're like, oh, like, oh, that's where this is in Ellie's timeline.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So then, then I like that. Then you do have that divide, and then you have all of Abby and all of Abby's flashbacks. I personally like the structure. I think it made it just easier for me. It had an easier flow. Like I said, I think it just would have felt all over the place if,
Mm-hmm.
Especially because that's the thing, the flashbacks, that's the difficult stuff with this game, is those flashbacks, because, you need those flashbacks kind of in certain places, and if you had Ellie flashback, Abby flashback, and then back and forth, it would have just been a mess. And then you wouldn't have
felt
it would have,
what you were supposed to feel.
It would have been a mess, I think. So I personally like the structure.
I loved all of my companions. Dina. At first I was, like, what the heck. But I liked Dina having her around.
Once Dina's character got going, I really started liking Dina.
She suits Ellie very much. They're both got quirky personalities. Yeah. My sweet Shimmer. Sweet Shimmer.
I can't believe that damn horse got blown up, you guys. That was upsetting.
He got shot. Who knows? I guess he was probably seriously injured. We just couldn't see. The sweet Shimmer. May he rest in peace.
R.I.P. Shimmer.
Pieces.
Jesse.
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 I loved he was fun having around.
He was dreamy.
Yeah. That's like, Sorry, Dina. I'm gonna steal your man.
You know, at first I
We
wasn't...
did have Tommy as companion.
Yeah, Tom.
I
Yeah, we
forgot
did in the
about that.
flashbacks.
Yeah,
though,
in
in the
flashback.
flashback. Yeah, I always liked Tommy. I don't know what it is about Tommy. I just love Tommy. He's so hilarious. He's kind of this total opposite of like Joel.
Yeah.
You know. At first, I didn't like Owen and Mel that much.
I didn't either.
But then yeah, once you do play as Abby, I really started liking Owen and Mel like a lot.
Yeah.
Even Manny, because initially, you know, because Manny was over when Joel
Yeah,
got
at
killed.
first- yeah.
I was like,
I was ready to kill
yeah,
Manny.
I was waiting just
He
to kill
spit
Manny.
on Joel. No,
Yeah,
I don't think
so
so.
I actually ended up liking Manny. Weirdly enough, I loved Alice.
Well, then he aggravated me at first because he was like, I'm a ladies'
Yeah.
man. And I was like, not one of these.
yeah, of course I loved Alice the dog. I didn't know how to feel about Yara and Lev at first. Because I just wasn't expecting them to be such a huge part of the game. That's especially Lev, because I would you have imagined Lev being at the very end of the game alive?
No.
I would never have imagined Lev being alive by the end of the game, because I just kept waiting for Yara and Lev to get killed, because yeah, Yara got killed by Isaac or somebody.
Yeah.
Because she killed Isaac, I think.
She did.
Yeah. So, I mean, I was expecting them to die, and yeah, Lev made it to the very end, which I was glad, because I really liked Lev a lot, because he was like the moral compass. Like Dina was Ellie's moral compass, Lev was Abby's moral compass.
Yeah, I love that, like, at one point we were all three together, and then, then you got your little adventure with Yara, and you got your own adventure with Lev, you know? Yeah, and I think, I really enjoyed having them around. And they were, like, the best, what's the term? Computer player. They, like, you know, what the game controls. I can't think of the technical term for it.
Like an AI character.
Yeah.
What is that
I
called?
can't think what the proper term is. But like
a character you're not playing, like they're your companion character or whatever the proper
you know, like,
word. Yeah.
we had great team. I had the best teamwork with Abby, Yara, and Lev. I loved having the two of them around because they were spot on with their arrows. There was a couple times they got me out of some messy situations.
I think really the only character I was a little disappointed with was the Isaac character. Because, yeah, all those letters kept mentioning Isaac, and it's like, oh, he's going to be the big villain of this. You know, because I kept thinking, oh, Ellie, I kept thinking, oh, Ellie and Abby are going to have to team up and go against this guy. You know, because I kept going on about that for the longest time. And then it never happened. And, yeah, Isaac was kind of in and out very quickly. And, yeah, I mean, he was voiced by a big-name actor, Jeffrey Wright. Right? Is that his name? I think the actor's name is Jeffrey Wright. He's like in Westworld and whatnot. He's a pretty big actor voicing that character, so I kept waiting for him, you know, to be a much bigger character, and then he just kind of got written out very quickly, which was shocking.
I think what was weird to me was after playing Abby's game and you're in the theater, and then all of a sudden you thought you would be Ellie running from Abby in the theater.
You're still Abby.
Abby. And I was scared. I was like,
Ellie was scary.
I was like, Abby, I don't want you to get killed. And why is Ellie being so scary?
Yeah, Ellie, it's like, Ellie for once was a very terrifying character.
She was freaking me out.
I was like, oh my god.
But then you switch now, you were Ellie for the rest of the game.
Yeah.
And so it's just like, what the heck is going on?
Yeah, that whole part of the theater with the chase, the cat and mouse chase, oh my god.
I don't know, I still think, I don't know which one was scarier. I think the guy from the first game that was chasing Ellie around in that
restaurant,
bar.
The bar, yeah, oh god, though.
He might still be a little, because it was very similar
That
to
was pretty much a very parallel scene to that, though, in the bar. That was...
Which, is that supposed to be a thing? Because, you know, that guy was downright, I would say, a villain, because he was just a horrible person.
I mean, they were cannibals, too, weren't they? I mean, yeah, they were downright cannibals.
And, I mean, yeah, they had killed some of their people, but they had cornered them.
Yeah.
So everything was justified for that, to me. But yeah, was that supposed to be some weird parallel that now Abby, or
is the hunter?
Ellie?
Or Ellie is the hunter?
Ellie was like the monster. Yeah, she was the hunter, and yeah, it was like, okay. It was very similar to the how playing that. I was like, get away from me, Ellie, like I'd be to that guy, get away from me. A lot of people were also angry with, what did you think about Lev?
Oh, the transgender thing with Lev.
That's something I see a lot.
Yeah, there's been a lot of complaints about...
Because I saw stuff, I mean, I never looked at the spoilers, but I had started seeing stuff, and I finally figured out that people were getting angry before the release of the game, because one of the things that they were angry about was there being a transgender character. And the whole time, I thought it was going to be a bigger character. Because everybody was so up in arms about it, you know? I thought it was going to be a big character. I was thinking it was Abby. It's like, oh, that's why she's got those meaty arms. But no, it was this little side character. Well, she was still a big character, you know? Or he. But yeah, like, everybody was so up in arms. I was thinking it was a big, massive character.
Lev, because Lev was a girl. But Lev wanted to be a boy, correct? Yeah, that honestly didn't bug me. Because
I was just confused because I was like, you know, I thought his brother and sister, and I was like, oh, what we were talking about his voice, but I was like, well, maybe it's just he hasn't hit puberty yet. He is probably only like between 10 and, or maybe, yeah, okay, not 10, but like 13.
I thought Lev was a girl for the longest time because.
Oh yeah, girl.
Yeah, and then it was like, oh, okay, Lev she wants to be a boy, you know. Yeah, that honestly didn't bug me or bother me because it was sometimes a plot thing like that. Sometimes it could be unnecessary, or it's like, well, why is it here? But
it was not forced.
It didn't. To me, it didn't feel forced because while Lev was kind of bringing stuff up about that topic, I mean, you would be kind of doing something else. You would be in motion doing something. You know, the story.
Sometimes I was like, Lev, shut up. I'm trying to read this letter.
But yeah, the story never stopped. You know, when that topic was being discussed, the story didn't just stop and you had a conversation. I mean, you still kept walking around and doing things while the conversation was happening.
And Abby herself, when it was first mentioned, was it Lily? Was the original?
They called Lev Lily.
And then Lev was like, do you want to talk about it? And she didn't state why. And Abby was like, no, not really. You know, Abby being Abby. No, not really. And then Lev only brought it up more closer towards the end of the campaign, you know. And it wasn't even a very long topic.
Yeah, they didn't talk about it very long.
And he was talking a lot about, like, you know, because in the Seraphites they were kind of paired off, they were kind of forced to marry and stuff, and that he didn't want to go through with that. That wasn't his.
Yeah, I think
his idea.
I don't think it was a forced, unnecessary plot element or anything to the character. It felt natural because what you find out about the Seraphites, they're like these religious people. It's like a cult. I think they are supposed to have like a more conservative base because I think they are all into like the Bible and what this lady has been preaching, you know. And so that didn't feel forced to me because it just gave Lev and Yara more motive for why they were trying to escape. You know,
while Abby wanted to help them.
It gave them a motive instead of them just being like, oh, we're just running away because we want to run away. You know, they had a motive why they were running away. So
Lev became my precious son.
Oh God, I love Lev. Lev was so cute.
I wanted to make sure he was protected at all times.
I'm just glad he made it off on that boat with Abby at the end because I was like, if Ellie kills Lev, I'm gonna be upset.
If Ellie would have, same thing. If Ellie would have sat there and killed Lev when he was in the boat right there at the end, because she did almost, right? Then same thing. Abby would have fought to the end probably because she killed like the one last person she had in her life.
So we've been talking for a very long time. It's been about almost an hour since we've been sitting here. So overall, we had very positive feelings about the game. We really loved it. It was great. Like we said, we played for 36 hours.
Problem with the time. I know a lot of people have a problem with the time too. Yeah. I paid $60. Give me a game.
Money's worth. Yeah, I want my money's worth. Yeah, we played for 36 hours for about 3 weeks because we would play about 2 hours every time because that's kind of all we would have time to play.
Or the brain capacity. There's too much going on sometimes.
Yeah, I love the game. I loved what the game was exploring because, a lot of people are I feel like a lot of people are getting angry about this game and they're just kind of looking at the surface level details. And I feel like this is a much more complicated, complex game than what people are giving it credit. You know, like I said, this game, it's not about heroes and villains. It's about morally gray, complicated, complex people with traumas and issues. And it's a very psychological, I feel like. You know, it's a very psychological game. You gotta get into the headspace of these people to understand them. I really liked like the thematic stuff, the thematic and symbolic stuff going on within the game. Now, yes, was I pissed that Joel got killed? Yes. I'm still upset.
Do I want it reversed?
Yes, I would like Joel to come back from the dead. But still, I understand the purpose of why he was killed. You know, there was a purpose and a reason for why that happened. It wasn't just Abby being like, oh, I'm going to kill you just because I want to kill you. You know, she wasn't just a bad guy just killing him. You know, she had a reason because you killed my dad. You know? So yeah, everybody had motive in this game, and I appreciate it, because yeah, a lot of video games you play and people don't have motive. You know, people just do whatever. They don't have motive. So this game was really going into that with just the thematic and symbolic stuff going on. And yeah, you felt like you were watching a TV show this whole time. I did. It felt like, sometimes I was like, man, I feel like I'm playing an interactive TV show. So, yeah, any final thoughts, Stephanie, about the game? So, overall, we loved the game. In the comments below, how did you guys feel about The Last of Us? If you've played it, if you've played it, how long did it take you to play? What were your favorite moments? What were your favorite characters? And yeah, if you legitimately had some frustrations with this game, that's okay. You know, your legitimate frustrations and issues, that's your opinion, that's fine. But yeah, just because, oh, your playable characters are two women, that's not an excuse.
Oh, there's a transgender.
Yeah, that's not an excuse, you know. So yeah, let me know your thoughts down. Let us know your thoughts down below about your gameplay experience, if you loved it or hated it. So that's it for this very, very long review. If you made it to this ending, great job. So that's it for this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you like this video, you may like these other videos. Bye, guys.